Nepal, meanwhile, has been rubbing India the wrong way. Kathmandu published a new map on the 20th of May depicting the disputed areas of Lipu Lake as part of Nepal. A bill is now in the Nepalese parliament to update the country's existing map. Why is Nepal, a country that is highly dependent on India, trying to create a dispute with New Delhi? Is China behind all of this? Most likely. The dispute comes at a time when India is engaged in a border standoff with China. But why is Nepal playing party to the dragon? To discuss this, I'm joined by Dr. Minendra Rijal. He's a former minister of Nepal, a sitting member of the country's parliament, a member of Nepal's main opposition party, the Nepalese Congress. Dr. Rijal joining us live from Kathmandu. Good evening and welcome to Gravitas. My first question to you is, what prompted Nepal to take an extreme position of suddenly changing the map? The disputed area has been a subject of discussion for a while now, so why this?
We have not taken an extreme position. We've been saying this since 1997 when your Prime Minister, Right Honorable Inder Kumar Gujralji, visited Nepal. At that time, we did present some of our evidences and then said this area belongs to Nepal and this should be this is something that should be taken into account, and then a resolution has to be found. And then consistently since then, especially after 2000 AD, this has been 20 years now. At the Prime Minister's level, we raised this also, and both sides have agreed that this is an outstanding issue that has to be resolved diplomatically. Diplomatic means has to be found. Not just one side blaming the other side and other side just looking at it and then doing nothing. So, I mean, there's enough blame to go around. I mean, if we start blaming each other, we are not going to get anywhere.
That is right. The blame game will not get anyone anywhere. Are you going to tell this to your own Prime Minister, though?
I'm going to say this to you, to people of India, to authorities in India, and of course, I would also advise my government, political parties here, that we have to be more restrained in the conduct of the foreign policy.
This has been, I said, an outstanding issue, but there is talk of Chinese influence, open interference by the Chinese in this dispute.
India and China fought a war in 1962, right? They are very good friends today. So the relationship between India and China has changed. Similarly, the relationship between Nepal and China and tripartite relationship, Nepal, India, China also has evolved over the period of time. So, I mean, if you do not understand that China has a role to play in Nepal, maybe in terms of magnitude smaller than the role India plays, but if you do not recognize it, it will be probably ignoring a fact that has evolved over a period of time.
I'm not ignoring the fact at all. In fact, playing a role is one thing, but China's open interference in Nepal's domestic politics is quite another.
So I guess, I mean, this probably would augur well to Indian audience, showing the Chinese card and saying that Nepal is enormously influenced by China. This is unacceptable to us. That probably augurs well with the Indian audience. I mean, Indian audience probably would like to hear that, and then probably there is no other way how India, policymakers in India can justify some of the things they have done vis-a-vis their relationship with Nepal. I mean, we are a small nation, we are a small economy, but you cannot blame us for your failings.
Right, just like Nepal cannot blame India for a virus that actually came from China.
Fully agree, madam. I agree with that. I think, I mean, this could have been done in a very different way, in a very nice fashion. I mean, I guess there are very few countries in the world whose relationship is as close as that of Nepal and India. We all know that. Nepalese do know that. But when Nepali people hear that Indian people at the policy level kind of feel that they can make policy for Nepal, they can decide for Nepal, they know what's in the best interest of Nepal, and then Nepal should heed to their suggestion and judgment, and that creates a very bad environment.
I'm sure. Why doesn't it create a bad environment when China says that Mount Everest is there, sir?
Every report that comes out in today's world, we cannot go and contradict that. I mean, had Chinese government said anything, then probably, I mean, this would have been an issue that two nations would have to attend to. Otherwise, the boundary issue with China is pretty clear.
Right. Let me quote from another report then. People are not happy with Prime Minister KP Oli's handling of the coronavirus situation. This Lippu Lake issue is clearly your Prime Minister's political lifeline. Why is your party, an opposition party, the Nepali Congress, helping him in that?
That sounds like a very good narrative to sell to Indian audience. But I mean, I would not comment beyond that. I mean, I do not have any reason to defend Mr. Oli's handling of internal affairs. I am with the Prime Minister as far as conduct of the foreign policy is concerned. On the internal issue, internal handling of Nepal's economy, Nepal's politics, Nepal's law and order, I mean, I have 1,000 differences with him.
Right. The founder of modern Nepal, Prithvi Narayan Shah, described Nepal as the yam between the two rocks, the two boulders. Do you feel like that yam today? Is this even more relevant today than before? Is the yam being squashed?
Some mindset still there, but we are also evolving. I mean, now from landlocked to we are thinking of a land-linked country. So 1/3 of the world's GDP will be produced between India and China in a few years to come. It's almost anywhere between 25 to 30% of the world's GDP is produced between India and China. And we know, I mean, this is a tremendous opportunity. We know there is a lot of interest in Nepal among many other countries throughout the world. That's because of the importance China and India have on the international arena, global arena. We want to benefit from that. So we don't, the psychology of yam between two boulders should not be there. I would like to think more like being linked with two of the most vibrant, dynamic, fastest growing economies in the world. And let's try to get the best benefit out of it.
Well, for that, I guess the Nepali Prime Minister will have to fix his line a bit. That was Dr. Minendra Rijal, a member of Nepal's parliament, a member of Nepal's opposition party, joining us from Kathmandu.